Hey, what's up? This is Tim Roth from Into Eternity.
This is Samuel from Animal.
This is Stacy Savage of Savage Master.
All right, what's up, folks? This is Matt Barlow from Ashes of Ares.
This is Brittany Slace from Unleash the Archers, and you're listening to the Great Metal Debate Podcast. Rock on!
The podcast returns with another amazing metal artist interview. Today we're joined by the guys from Canadian True Metalers, Traveler. Guys, thanks for coming on the Great Metal Debate.
Thanks so much, man. Yeah, nice to meet you.
So we're here in Indianapolis at Black Circle Brewing, where Traveler's opening on a tour with Savage Master. The tour began last evening in Chicago. How was last night's show?
That was our third time in Chicago, and we've built up a really good following there, man. And Bob and Empire Productions, they're all awesome. And a lot of familiar faces and lots of old friends.
Yeah, it was at Reggie's?
Yeah.
It was at Reggie's, and not to mention, like, the bands that we're touring with, we know them already, so, like, it was just a big, fun reunion. All the staff at Reggie's were really friendly to Traveler. A few of them were fans, even, and watched the whole set, which was really flattering. So it was just an easy, nice time last night, I gotta say.
Yeah, it was a great night. It was fun catching up with people that, there's a lot of people out there that I knew from, just playing at, Reggie's a bunch of times before as well. So it was a fun night. Yeah, good show. Good crowd.
And the first night after having not played for a little while, does it take a while to kick the rust off, or do you just go right back to what's natural for you?
It depends. Sometimes we have a little bit of a break between our first gig together since we were all a little separated. But this one felt pretty fresh because we just recently played Los Angeles.
Yeah, I'd say we shook off the rust in Los Angeles.
That's right. Yeah. So this one felt really good. It was nice. Felt strong. So yeah.
And so you mentioned familiarity with the other bands on this tour. How did you all come to be on this particular tour, and why was it appealing to you?
Nicholas Burks of Savage Master, he hit me up asking about touring. The lineups, the lineup was kind of back and forth of who was going to join us and whatever, and our schedule lined up with theirs, and I mean, we're fans of them, we love those guys, so it worked out.
Definitely. And I used to sing for a band called Gatekeeper, too, who did a European tour with Sanhedrin, who are the special guests on the tour in the past. So, the rapport is just real, simple. There's none of the usual growing pains getting to know each other kind of thing. It's just perfect fun.
So how important is that? As a fan, we just, for the most part, see you guys up on stage and then the next band on stage. But behind the scenes, you all spend a lot of time on the road together, helping each other out. Speak a little more to how important that element is.
Very, very important. Yeah, if all the bands you're rolling with are really cool with a great attitude, it just makes everything so much easier.
And that's what underground metal is. It's all bands helping each other. It's all bands filling in the puzzle piece gap that they see that they can fill, and everyone working to their strengths. And that's the fact that we can come into this tour and just expect it from the outset because we know everybody. It dots so many I's before we even get together. It's perfect.
So, for folks who aren't familiar with you all, can you give us the thumbnail sketch, let's say, of how Traveler originated as a band?
Well, I was in between projects, like my old band Gatecrasher, my other band Chrome. They were pretty slow going, so I was writing a lot of tunes on my own. And I didn't really know what to do with it. I just know I wanted to start something and just see what happens. And I've known JP for a long time now. Through Gatekeeper, Borrowed Time, we've crossed paths a lot over the years. And I didn't know too many singers in Calgary that could deliver what I was kind of envisioning. So I just hit him up. I was like, hey man, do you want to can I buy you a bus ticket to Calgary? And from where were you at the time? Was it?
I was in Vancouver.
Oh, Vancouver.
Yeah, I was
That's right.
I was living with Jeff Black at the time.
That's right. Yeah. So I bought him a ticket, and I showed him the demo songs, and we worked it out, and we released the demo just on YouTube, and
Hopefully that bus ride wasn't in the middle of winter to go to Calgary.
It was in the middle of winter.
Oh, my.
It was a mild little patch during the winter, though, where it wasn't too bad. I remember the bus ride being just fine for the most part. I've taken that bus a lot, including involuntarily this year to make it just on time for one of our gigs when I wasn't allowed on a plane.
that was a miracle, man.
Yeah, it was. Usually that drive wouldn't make it to Calgary in time for a gig. To go from Abbotsford, BC, on a bus with stops and things that they do and have to get off and change drivers to, it was like an absolute, physics-defying miracle that I got there to do the show.
So sometimes it takes miraculous things to make a show, so that's understandable. And so you guys released your self-titled debut in 2019. You spoke a little bit about this, but how long had all those songs been in development? Like since back in that day, or to what extent did you all add fresh material as you got closer?
I guess if you count the entire process of just starting to write lyrics and all that, which I didn't really do a lot before this. I contributed a little bit to Home and Gatecrasher, but this time I really wanted to write a lot of my own lyrics, and I wrote a lot of trash for quite a while. I would just make notepads on my phone and just keep writing, and then eventually...
Idea generate. It's not garbage, it's just idea generation.
Right, exactly. And then eventually I kind of worked up the muscle where I was like, okay, these are starting to work out into something that we can make, and I guess the entire process from beginning to end was probably a couple of years, I would say. Yeah.
And at that point, your debut is awesome, if you ask me. At that point, did you guys did you feel, that it was good material, or can you tell at that point?
Yeah, I thought, I kind of came into the band a little bit after the first album was written, so I'd heard it all kind of, I wasn't really around for the creative process, so it was really cool hearing those, songs kind of just being fleshed out, I guess, kind of almost as they were already kind of written, and then I just kind of contributed a little bit to, my piece of just doing some solos and stuff.
It was we've always had a pretty unique situation. Our situation's a little easier now, but before, our bass player Dave Arnold, he lived in Edmonton. JP lived in Vancouver and now Detroit. So we all kind of lived in different cities.
Yeah, and people think Calgary and Edmonton are right next to each other. It's like 3.5, 4 hours away.
Yeah. It's a while. So our jams were very basically. We would jam all together in the same room for the first time before our first gig. Once, it was pretty much thrown into the fire.
Not so much the case anymore. And what's really cool, actually, going back to the thing with the first album and what it inspired with the band, is that what's cool is we played together, loved the first album and working on it and doing our parts, and had such a blast that we did a second album right away. That was the result, really. We just wanted to right away get collaborating and write some more stuff, and that's where Termination Shock came out.
Well, I want to get to that, but before that, subsequent to your first album's release, went on a European tour along with Riot City. What did that do for you guys, just as far as getting to be in front of fans, and in particular, the folks in Europe who are crazy?
What's unique for us is, Riot City are kind of hometown bros, so it was that was another easy one, where it was just dudes that you already know, no problem, every show, the after party's fun, all the people were, we saw a lot of the same people the last time we went to Europe last year, and I think that is definitely a credit to how it went the first time, so.
It kind of opened the door for us, and like JP said, it really got our foot in the door for, how well our second time around went. It was kind of unfortunate because that tour did actually get cut short by a couple of dates, just because it was right when COVID happened, but, I think we still made a pretty good impact when we went over there the first time, and really helped the success of our most recent tour over there as well, I think, even though we played a couple of the same places, but then also same with some of the new places. It was pretty cool too.
Yeah, the timing was pretty fortuitous because there were lots of bands, some major bands who had overseas trips planned, and COVID happened before they even began, so you guys were right at the tail end of the touring. Tell me then a little bit about your decision to release that next album, Termination Shock.
Well, we had like a pretty good stockpile of extra songs too, and riffs and ideas, and we were all just really hyped off the success of the first one, and we were like, yeah, let's keep this going. We all felt good. We felt the songs were strong, and I don't know, it just came together pretty quick. I don't know, I'm proud of it. It was a fun record for us to make, so.
Yeah, I really like it. Our third one, though, it's way angrier, I would say. We have a third one coming up. It's like pissed. I don't know how else to, because if you listen to the other ones, like there's like more of a melodic, caveat where it's like, we're always going for the melody, always going for melody. This one, it's like I get pretty pissed. Like I think what has happened to do with that is the fact that Termination Shock, we've toured it as long as Metallica toured the Black Album, but not for the right reason. It's just taken this long to do like a basic tour for it between Europe and the States and Canada. So we finally done it. The pandemic just staggered it for like 4 more years than we wanted it to be.
So is that part of the reason for the anger that's involved? Like you wrote some of that during the pandemic?
All of it, man. All of it. Yeah, like, I don't know. Hopefully, like, people are going to be okay with me screaming all angry like Blackie on the Second Wasp or something, but it's more angry for sure. Yeah.
How did you guys deal with that being in different cities? Did the technology kind of make up as far as your ability to communicate? How did you manage that process?
Yeah, it was a lot of for this third one, I really wanted to write as a group, for sure. And with the pandemic, we just weren't able to do that. So I was writing a lot during lockdown and isolation and whatever. But there was a lot more collaboration on this one, too, because Dave Arnold wrote another song for us. They were working, Dave and JP were working on lyrics.
Oh, yeah, I can give you the scoop on that if you want. The scoop on that is that, like, it's really cool. He showed me this book. Dave and I were always talking sci-fi books and things like that. He showed me this book called The Three-Body Problem, and he had written all these lyrics for it, and the story is super, super cool. Oh. And the way that he wrote the lyrics, I just added a few lines to fill it up here and there. But what I loved about it is that, like, it's not too much of a book report. Like, the perfect songs about, like Maiden always did it perfectly. Like, where it's just, like, they say the exact words about the perfect summary that you can go over it with without it being too much, like, Gravedigger, not to, oh, man, I'm like dissing Gravedigger on this podcast.
No,
they're one of my favorite bands, actually, but they totally just, like, Google something, and then that's the lyrics.
Well, you can do worse.
No, I mean, Gravedigger's cool, okay? Like, we were just bumping Heart of Darkness before we left on the tour, so.
So, following the release of Termination Shock and the pandemic, you guys have gotten back out on the road, including with the likes of Haunt and others. Have you guys learned anything sharing the stage with more veteran acts and just getting out there and seeing what other artists do? Or do you guys kind of appreciate that, but keep to your own counsel and have such a clear vision for what you want to do artistically that other folks don't influence you that much?
I mean, it starts at home with Traveler, I think, yeah, for sure, because, like, we've all been doing music for, like, a really long time independently of this band, so, like, getting together and doing this, it's very, like, we plan it out, we get together, we have a plan before we go, it isn't a seat-of-the-pants thing.
Yeah, mistakes happen, obviously, and nothing, if it goes perfect, that would be weird. You just have to roll with the punches and everything. But yeah, we prepare pretty heavily before we go. Yeah.
You guys seem pretty chill, easygoing. Is that part of it too? Just having members of a band that can roll with the punches and don't freak out and walk when some small thing goes awry?
I think that's super important. And everyone, has their moments, for sure. But yeah, I think that's really important. Just kind of being able to kind of roll with whatever's happening, and not expecting everything to go perfect it's a really good attitude to have.
And
to
if
be
you've done it
prepared
enough,
for
you
the
think
worst.
you're jinxing yourself by oh, it's gone so good so far. Wait, I shouldn't have thought that. No.
Well, the second you say that, something's going to happen. It's like the way. It's like,
Are there members of the band who are particularly superstitious?
no. I mean, like after getting trapped in Europe with the pandemic and shit, that was like. It was kind of like, all right, that's as bad as it's ever going to get.
I guess I didn't catch that you guys were trapped over there.
Oh yeah, we had to stay at a hostel in I think somewhere in Bavaria, and it was a hostel.
Yeah, I thought it was in Hoff.
Oh no, Hoff was the town we were gonna play.
Oh, that's
but
right.
I'm not sure if it was. I was in Bavaria somewhere where we were.
Yeah.
But Hoff was where we were going to play at a soccer club. I'd played there before actually with Gatekeeper, and that guy was the same guy. He was pissed. He was mad that all of it was happening, but it was at the point where no one really knew what was going to happen, so he thought we were just canceling. But the thing is, our driver bailed to Italy, where he's from, because he's like, I gotta get home to my wife and kid. I gotta get out of here. This is a disaster. Everyone was acting like the world was totally ending. So it was what Matt said was true. If we can deal with the level of panic and uncertainty that was actually happening at the time with that, because hindsight's 2020, you think of it a certain way now. At that time, it's really just what is going on? We are pretty adept, I guess, because we were able to just keep chill, talk to each other, wash dishes, have coffee, and just talk. And all right, well, I guess got to figure out how to get out of here.
Well, and then since the tour cut short, we had to take an emergency flight basically after we stayed at that hostel from Berlin to Paris to catch our connecting flight home. And we stayed at the Paris airport at the hotel there for 3 days. And they were just gradually roping shit off as we were there.
Yeah.
We couldn't even play foosball. Eventually you couldn't even get out of your room.
All the restaurants started barricading their doors and stuff with furniture and stuff. It's funny that you're talking about just how important it is to just kind of roll with the punches. I think that was definitely the worst case where I think everyone kind of had a bit of a blow up just because we were all freaking out a little bit. But ever since then I think all of us have been okay, it's not gonna get any worse than that. We can kind of roll with whatever's thrown at us.
Talk about a bonding moment. I mean, if you guys were able to get through that, it seems like almost anything else you can imagine on the road would be pretty easy sailing.
Yeah, that's as bad as it's going to get, I hope. So
our first U.S. tour, we had our back window smashed and a couple of bags stolen and stuff, and we even after that we were just kind of this still isn't that bad. Just kind of always having a positive attitude.
Oh, we ended up having a good day where we just folded and got merch together while they fixed the window.
yeah.
So, Trevor also played Mad with Power Fest last year. For my money, one of the best fests in the U.S.
Oh yeah, it's nice people, man.
Yeah, tell me what that experience was like.
Oh, dude, it was a blast, man. What's really cool is Traveler, we play a little dirtier, heavy and speed metal, and I love it when we can get with power metal bands, because I always feel it's a great variety to be added to the bill, because you could get something that sounds like Halloween Keeper of the Seven Keys, then we go on there sounding like Iron Angel, or even earlier Halloween, and it's a nice variety all the time, I always feel so getting to play Ty's Power Metal Fest was a goal, and that goal was achieved. Oh man, a bunch of great bands that year too, and now this year as well. They got Power Glove, they got Unleash the Archers, they got Seven Spires, they got basically the starring lineup of Frog Power headlining the thing this year.
And High Spirits too, man.
Oh, High Spirits
great,
as well.
Great addition too. Yeah.
So, you guys, we've talked a little bit about this. Obviously, I'm heavily influenced by early metal pioneers, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, etc. And you guys definitely stayed in that version of the metal genre. I am curious always when I talk with a band like that, from an artistic perspective, are there any challenges to keeping true to that sound when I'm sure you guys are listening to other more modern types of metal? Do those influences ever find their way in? Do you have to, what's your thought process about staying true to that, but also keeping yourself open artistically?
I see the next album kind of, we're because it's a couple of new members in the band. I see the direction of the band being a lot more collaborative, but I also see it being a lot faster because myself and actually our new rhythm section, Jake and Nolan, we've all played in thrash metal bands before. That was kind of our main thing for a long time, was playing thrash metal. So I see a lot more faster and maybe heavier stuff maybe for the next album, I think. But I think we're still going to try and keep the same vision of what the band's supposed to be. We're still supposed to be a traditional heavy metal band, but I think there is definitely going to be a lot more outside influence going forward.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to make me sound like a total prick.
No.
I feel like at this point I've ruined my brain with all the things that I like, to the point where anything that comes out of my mind is going to have that sound in some way. It's such an arrogant thing to say, but it's I don't feel arrogant about it. I feel more like, oh man, my life. Whoa.
He's JP's heavily inspired by Marillion and Genesis and
Prog
things
and
like that.
neo-prog,
Yeah.
right.
So that also comes out too.
But that's also very 80s, though, at the same time. That's the thing. It doesn't not fit. Certain Genesis songs like Mama, he's almost doing, heavy metal stuff on it.
Yeah.
King Foley's talked about that before, where Mama has, whoa, there's a moment where it's wouldn't Venom do that? Why is Phil Collins doing that?
Yeah, right.
But I assume you're not going to get too proggy, 15-minute instrumentals on the next one.
They won't let me, no. I can't bring, a flute and, do a whole, no, there's no.
Pan a flute, yeah.
All right, let's go with a few quick hitter questions. I'll just kind of go around to each of you. First, what's the best concert you've ever attended?
Oh boy, that's a tough one. Man, I don't know. For really big concerts, one of my first shows was seeing Van Halen live. It was David Lee Roth reunion, but maybe they weren't the best, but I'm such a big Van Halen fan. But then also some of the other traditional heavy metal bands that I've become a fan of over the years. Seeing bands like Riot and Vicious Rumors are probably some of my favorites that I've seen.
I would go with the Somewhere Back in Time tour, Iron Maiden.
The Somewhere Back in Time tour.
Yeah. Power Slave is, the be-all, end-all for me. So seeing, Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner and a lot of the deep cuts off that album was really special to me, personally. So I think that tour in particular was the one that struck me the most. Yeah.
I saw Rush at the, I think it was the Phillips Arena in Atlanta in 2002. That was the best show I've ever seen. End of story.
Now I'll just do one for each of you. What's your preference, McDonald's or Tim Hortons?
Oh. As a Canadian, I probably gotta say Tim Hortons.
And and for you, if you lived in prehistoric times, would you be a hunter or gatherer?
I'd be a gatherer. I like chilling, so I'm going to do that.
Gonna figure that out. Yeah. And then finally, would you rather fight 100 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck?
Oh man, 100 duck-sized horses, but I'd probably get mauled to death. But I mean, the horse-sized duck, that's a scary thought. They have sharp teeth.
Yeah, well, they've got ridges in there. Yeah.
Yeah, no, imagine a giant incisor version of that. That's gonna cleave you in half right away. You get bone tomahawk.
So, beginning to wrap up with you guys, following this current tour with Savage Master, what are the band's plans going forward, and when can fans expect to hear the follow-up to Termination Shock?
We're almost done, man. We're probably going to be hearing a lot of the final mixes on some of the last few songs here while we're on the road. Most of it's all sent in. A couple touch-ups here and there. We're almost done, man. So maybe by fall, hopefully.
Yeah, I hope by fall as well. That's realistic. We're pretty much done. There might be one or two hey, instead of go that's it. That's all we got.
Touch-ups.
You guys maybe adding any new songs to the set list, or?
We got one new song that we're playing on this tour, so that'll be a debut of that.
And then Torian is telling us that he wants to jam on a new one and add it, and I'm not opposed to that, but we'll see what happens,
Finally, what's the best way for fans to purchase music and merchandise from Traveler, including the latest album, Termination Shock?
Bandcamp. Heavy Metal Traveler on Bandcamp. There's also a lot of links on our Facebook profile and Instagram and
Oh yeah, Heavy Metal Traveler on Instagram, Heavy Metal Traveler, Facebook, Heavy Metal Traveler, YouTube. That's all our stuff, but Bandcamp is the place.
Yeah, you just Google Heavy Metal Traveler and you can definitely find you. Well, guys, my first time to see you all play live this evening, and I'm so stoked about it. Can't wait for it. You'll see me right down front, and just looking forward to the show, and best of luck on the road the rest of this tour.
Yeah, man. Thanks so much for having us, dude.
Oh yeah, man. Thanks for having us on the podcast.